Missouri is well known for its corn and soybeans, but sometimes we're a little surprised by the diversity we can find in its agriculture. Alpacas, right here in central Missouri? Next on Show Me Ag. Just like any other agricultural-based business, harvest time is often one of the busiest times of the year. And at Harmony Ranch, that time came in early June as they had to shear over 120 of their own stock, plus a few of their friends and neighbors' animals in one day. And we, along with a lot of hired hands and volunteers, joined Patty and Britt on their ranch for their annual shearing day.
Alpacas are wonderful animals. They are members of the camelid family. So there are camels, llamas, alpacas, and then there's a vicuna, which is smaller yet. And there aren't any of those in the United States. So the alpaca is the smallest of the camelid family in the United States. They've been in the United States for about probably 25 years and come from Peru, Chile, Bolivia, the high plains in South America. Very hardy animals. They adapt to different temperatures, heat or cold. And you can tell from looking at the alpacas today that they have grown over the year. They grow long fiber. We have Surrey alpacas, which have long fiber like dreadlocks. And over the course of a year, they grow pretty long fiber. And then once a year, before it gets really hot in the summertime, we shear them. And we take the fiber from the alpaca, process it into yarn, rugs, clothing, and it makes absolutely luxurious fiber. Well, we have about 121 alpacas on our farm, which is a fairly good-sized farm. And in order to shear all of them, we have to have a pretty good-sized work crew. We hire a company called Biosecure Alpaca Shearing. They're based in Ohio, and they travel all over the country working alpaca farms. They also shear llamas, and then during the off-season, they shear sheep. But they've got a system down that is very efficient. It's very gentle with the animals and as quick as possible so that the animals aren't confined for longer than is necessary. Then in addition to the shearers that come, we have volunteers from the university, volunteers from the local community who come out and want to participate in shearing day, which is really for alpaca farmers harvest time. This is our harvest.
My aunt called me recently and asked if I could help out on the farm, and I recruited a few people, and we decided to make a day of it, and we had fun last year, so I decided to come back. Well, aside from actually shearing the animal, there are a lot of little jobs in between, like collecting the fiber, bagging the fiber, weighing the fiber. So there are a lot of little jobs and a lot of things that you wouldn't expect to do, like clean up pee, for example, clean up spit. I'd say, considering what an alpaca can actually do, they can only kick really and spit, but some of the dangers are more towards the animal. You don't want to stress out the animal too much. So it's a matter of keeping the animal calm and staying calm with the animal.
There are several steps involved in the shearing process. The first thing is we want to get all the animals as clean as we possibly can. And what that means is we pick through their fiber and pull out any vegetable matter, pieces of straw, pieces of hay, pieces of grass, because we don't want that to run into the shearer's clippers and damage the clippers themselves. Also, later, when we clean the fiber and get it ready to send to the mill, it's going to be easier to do. So it works better if you can get them clean while they're still on the animal. So then once the animal is pretty cleaned out and we've got the vegetable matter off the blanket, then we take the animal out to the shearing stations. The shearers, and our operation is running 2 stations at a time, which means that we can have 2 animals being worked on at one time. The shearers take one animal and they lay that animal down on the mat. They stretch the animal out so the front feet go forward and the back feet go backward. And it makes it very safe for the animal. They're not likely to get hurt by struggling against laying down on the mat. So then the shearers, some members of the team come by and they clip toenails. We have our vet tech out here today and she's giving tetanus shots. So every animal on our farm is going to have their toenails cut. They're going to have teeth trimmed if they need them trimmed. They're going to have tetanus shots, and they'll be set for a while in terms of the routine health. So then the shearers take off the blanket. Now the blanket is the back and the sides of the fiber, and that's really the prime fiber. When you process it into yarn, that's going to become the finest part of your harvest, so to speak. Then they do what are called seconds, and the seconds are the neck fiber, the leg fiber, anything other than the blanket. We bag both of those up with the animal's name on them, so we know what animal that fiber came from. The other thing that happens while they're laying down is that we take a sample of their fiber from their mid-side and put it in a little sandwich bag with their name on it, and we take that and send it in to have a histogram done on that fiber. And what we're looking for is how fine is the fiber on that animal. As alpaca farmers, we're striving for the finest micron, or the finest fiber that we can get. The ancient Incans considered alpaca fiber to be the fiber of the gods, and it was reserved for royalty. And the reason for that is that it is so luxurious. It truly is a luxury fiber. So to maintain that and to make it better all the time, we want to increase the fineness of the fiber. So the histogram is going to give us an idea of where that animal stands, and it also will help us when we're making breeding decisions. So we're going to be breeding the finest of our animals to the finest male and end up improving the fiber all the time.
I think it's a great educational experience. Whether you're getting into alpacas or you're just here to help, I mean, no one's going to not go away learning anything. So I figured my friends would have a blast here, so I decided to recruit them, and Man also needed help with everything else too. So no, they're enjoying themselves for sure.
Shearing Day is a great opportunity for people, number one, who have a very small alpaca farm. For example, today we had clients of ours who have just 2 alpacas bring their alpacas in for shearing, and they join us every shearing day and have theirs sheared as well. And we've also got people here who are interested in alpaca farming, and they're helping today. It gives them an opportunity for some hands-on, and they get a chance to get to know the animals a little bit better. And they will probably end up with maybe 5 or 6 alpacas on their own farm, and it's wonderful. So part of what we do on our farm is to help new alpaca farmers get started. In fact, on Saturday we had a seminar at our home where we brought in people to learn about, well, actually the title was Getting Started with Alpacas the Right Way. And what we want to do is encourage people to really understand things about the fiber. We want them to understand things about how to buy a good animal, because when people are buying alpacas, we want them to go beyond just the cute factor. You know, and that is so tempting because you look at them and they're so cute. But you want to really think about, if you're doing it as a money-making business, you want to think about what kind of alpacas are going to work for you in your area. What are you going to use those alpacas for? What's your niche? And then go from there, develop a good plan.